So today, we're going to dive into the science behind something we all deal with every single second of the day, our emotions. We're going to look at where they come from, how our culture shapes them, and what the latest research tells us about, actually being happy. Let's get into it. All right, let's kick things off with a question that seems super simple on the surface, but it actually cracks open a huge scientific debate. Does a smile mean the exact same thing to someone walking through New York City as it does to a person in a totally isolated tribe in Papua New Guinea? Well, before we can even touch that question, we need to agree on what an emotion even is. See, to a psychologist, an emotion isn't just some random, fuzzy feeling. It's a very specific, multi-part event. It's brief, it's targeted, and it involves how you see a situation, what you feel inside, the face you make, and even what your body is doing physically. And here's the kicker. All of that works together to help you achieve a goal. So yeah, it's way better to think of your emotions as this super efficient toolkit. They're like your brain's own little rapid response team, helping you make sense of the world in an instant and pushing you to act, whether that's to run away from something scary or get closer to someone you care about. They are the absolute foundation of how we navigate our world. And that brings us right back to that smile. The big question is, are our emotions these universal instincts just hardwired into our DNA from millions of years of evolution? Or are they more like a language, something we learn and that gets shaped by the specific culture we happen to grow up in? Let's dig into this great debate. Okay, so you've got two big camps here. In one corner, you have the evolutionary folks. They say emotions are universal survival tools. Think about it. Fear looks pretty much the same everywhere, right? Because a predator was a threat no matter where you lived. But in the other corner, you have the cultural approach. And that view says our emotions are actually built by our environment, that our language, our values, our rules, they all tell us how to feel and how to show it. And this whole evolutionary idea, well, it really kicks off with the man himself, Charles Darwin. He was the one who suggested our expressions aren't just for us, but they're actually leftovers from our primate ancestors. And just look at this picture. See that chimp? That expression, that kind of open-mouthed grin it does when it's playing? Scientists believe that's the great-great-great-granddaddy of our own laugh. You can totally see it, can't you? And honestly, the evidence that there's a biological basis for this stuff is just, wow, it's really powerful. In this famous study, researchers went to this super isolated tribe in Papua New Guinea, people who'd never seen a movie, never seen a Western face, and they could still pick out the right emotions from photos. And then there's this, which is just mind-blowing, blind athletes who have never seen someone look triumphant. They make the exact same pride expression as sighted athletes when they win. Chest puffed out, arms in the air. But, okay, it's not that simple. Nothing ever is, right? If it was all just biology, then culture wouldn't matter much. But it really does, in some fascinating ways. Which leads us to this big number on the screen, 113. Any guesses what that could be? So that number, 113, that is the number of different words the Chinese language has to describe shame and embarrassment. 113. Compare that to English, where we've got, maybe 25? This is a perfect example of what's called a focal emotion. Basically, if an emotion is super important in a culture, maybe for keeping everyone getting along, the language for it just explodes with detail. It shows culture doesn't just add flavor, it helps build the feeling itself. So you got this cool push and pull, right? Universal feelings, but with cultural flavors. But why do we even show our emotions in the first place? Well, the answer is all about connection. Emotions aren't just for us. They are the glue that holds our society together, helping us bond and figure out our incredibly complicated social lives. And one of the key chemicals behind this connection is a hormone you've probably heard of, oxytocin. It's huge for promoting commitment and trust, especially with people in our own group. It's the chemical basis for really powerful bonds. And, well, because it's so powerful, of course someone tried to bottle it and sell it. Okay, this next study is one of my favorites. It just shows so perfectly how wired we are to connect. Researchers had one person try to communicate an emotion to another person just by touching their arm. That's it, no words, no faces. And check out these results. For really complex social emotions like compassion and gratitude, people got it right way more than half the time. That's incredible. We're speaking a whole language with touch without even realizing it. All right, let's switch gears and talk about the big one, happiness. I mean, it's what we're all chasing, right? We spend so much time and energy trying to get it. But here's the weird thing. For all the effort we put in, the science is pretty clear. We're actually terrible at predicting what's going to make us happy. This whole idea has a name. It's called affective forecasting. basically forecasting our feelings. And this chart is the perfect example. Researchers asked people to predict how miserable they'd be a couple months after a breakup. That bar on the right, that's what they thought they'd feel, total misery. But now look at the bar on the left. That's how people who actually broke up really felt. See that gap? It's huge. We think it's going to be a catastrophe, and it's just not as bad as we imagine. So what's going on here? Why are we so off? Well, a huge piece of the puzzle is something called immune neglect. It's like we completely forget that we have this psychological immune system, this amazing built-in ability to cope, to adapt, and to bounce back from tough stuff. We are just so much tougher than we give ourselves credit for. And then there's another mental trap we all fall into: focalism. Think of it like a spotlight. When we imagine something big in the future, we shine this intense spotlight on it, and we totally forget about all the other stuff that's still going to be happening in our lives. Our friends, our hobbies, that morning cup of coffee. All those little things still affect our happiness, but they get lost in the glare of that one big event. And to make things even weirder, the way we remember being happy is also kind of broken. It's called duration neglect. It means that when we look back, how long something lasted doesn't really matter that much. Isn't that wild? What we actually remember are two very specific things: the absolute best moment, the peak, and how it ended. It's why a fantastic one-week vacation that ends on a high note feels better in your memory than a pretty good but kind of boring 3-week trip. Okay, so if our gut feelings about what will make us happy are so unreliable, are we just doomed? What are we supposed to do? Well, the good news is, no, we're not doomed, because science has actually given us a pretty clear roadmap for what actually works. And here is the most important takeaway. Happiness isn't some magical thing you just stumble upon. It's something you build. It's a practice. And science is super clear on the blueprints. The things you're seeing right now, connecting with people, being grateful, giving back, choosing experiences over stuff, and finding awe, these aren't just nice ideas. They're scientifically backed strategies for well-being. And the best part about all this? It's not complicated. You don't have to completely change your life overnight. I mean, you can take 30 seconds right now to think of 3 things you're grateful for. You can take a walk and just decide to look for something that makes you say, wow. It's these tiny, deliberate choices that really truly add up and can have a huge impact on your happiness. Look, at the end of the day, understanding how our feelings work isn't just about learning cool facts. It's about getting the user's manual for your own mind. It puts you in the driver's seat of your own well-being. So I'll just leave you with this one thought. You've seen the science. What's one thing, just one thing you're going to do for your happiness today?